Welcome back. All right, so a career video and a little bit of a story as well with this. So you'll notice right here, now I've got the John Garrett picture that's been in the background of videos for a while now because, of course, retiring from Sportsnet and all of that, and I felt like my John Garrett picture, which had been hanging on that wall over there, should be here for now. The Gary Bettman picture will go back at some point, probably at the end of the playoffs. And in that, right here, this is Darcy Rota. Now, the Darcy Rota one came home from the Abbotsford game. My wife and kids went to watch one of the playoff games, and I had to stay here. I had to watch playoff games at home. So I was kind of sad that I wasn't getting to go to this, and it was a situation where season ticket holders were getting in early, and there was a lot of season ticket holder discount stuff. And Darcy Rota actually, talked to my wife and kids and then insisted on video calling me because she said, yeah, he has to be home. And so video called me and it was a fun chat. Darcy Rota, really nice guy, great guy, currently an ambassador for the Vancouver Canucks. Coming out to Abbotsford and just, he spent some time talking to Yvonne and everything. And so I think that's great. And I always thought he was a really nice guy, and that definitely didn't change my perception at all. The interesting thing is that meant a lot to like little kid me, as the when I came into hockey, Darcy Rota was one of my favorite players. He was part of that 82 run. So let's go ahead and talk about his career. He was drafted originally by the Chicago Blackhawks, 13th overall in 1973. So 73, 74, he comes into the NHL right out of the draft. 74 games, 21 goals, 12 assists, 33 points. Not bad, but more was expected with Rota. Rota would never really quite reach levels that Chicago was all that happy with. In the playoffs, he had 3 goals in 11 games. The following season, 74, 75, 78 games played, 22 goals, 22 assists, 44 points. In the playoffs, he adds an assist in 7 games. And again, the numbers aren't bad, but for Chicago, it's just not working out the way they want it to. Now, 75, 76, 79 games played, 20 goals, 17 assists, 37 points. In the playoffs, he adds a single goal in 4 games. With Chicago in 76 77, the storyline stays very similar. 76 games, 24 goals, 22 assists, 46 points. And in the playoffs, he plays 2 games, no points. So that is 4 straight 20-goal seasons to start his career. And yet the expectation was 30, maybe 40. And so there's that, Chicago not necessarily being all that happy about things. 77, 78, 78 games played with the Hawks, 17 goals, 20 assists, 37 points in the playoffs, 4 games, no points scored. So the following season sees his time in Chicago come to an end. I'm sure for Chicago, this is season 6. So they probably figured we've given him all these chances. And his totals actually drop off. 63 games, 13 goals, 17 assists, 30 points. So on March the 13th of that season, he is traded with Ivan Boldarev, another favorite of mine, Phil Russell, and going back the other way, Greg Fox, Tom Lysiak, Harold Filipov, Pat Ribble, and Miles Zaharko. So a lot of names in there, but the key ones, Boldarev and Rota, and they go to the Atlanta Flames. Don't have Atlanta Magnets. Apologies, but Calgary, you guys know Flames. So 78, 79 in Atlanta, 13 games, 9 goals, 5 assists, 14 points. As soon as he reaches Atlanta, suddenly the goal scoring is there. In the playoffs, he adds 1 assist in 2 games. So the following season, I'm sure there was some anticipation for what he might be able to do in Atlanta. However, in 44 games in Atlanta, 10 goals, 8 assists, 18 points. So his production actually drops a little bit there. And February the 8th, he is traded to Vancouver by the Atlanta Flames with Ivan Boldarev for Don Lever and Brad Smith. So Vancouver wins that trade. Boldarev didn't play that long with Vancouver. I don't think I've done a Boldarev video. I try to space out these Canuck videos because I know it's important. Covering all 32 teams means covering players from all 32 teams. But that was a fascinating team in 82. And as soon as Rota arrives in Vancouver, things just kind of get better for him. So after the trade from Atlanta for the rest of the 79-80 season, 26 games, 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 points. He adds 2 goals in 4 games in the playoffs. If you score in the playoffs in Vancouver, you're kind of a hero. To this guy, 80-81, 80 games played in Vancouver. He sets career high with 25 goals. 31 assists, 56 points. So he's 10 points ahead of his career high in Chicago. And in the playoffs, he adds 2 goals and an assist for 3 points in 3 games. So Vancouver's not winning in the playoffs, but hey, Darcy Rota's producing in the playoffs, and that's really what matters to this kid here watching TV. 81-82 in 51 games with Vancouver, 20 goals, 20 assists, 40 points. So the point totals are excellent considering he only played 51 games, missed 29 due to injury. And then in the playoffs, he's a big part of this team. 17 games, they go all the way to the Stanley Cup final, and then the Islanders kind of said nope and swept him aside. But 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 points on that run to the Stanley Cup final for Vancouver. And he wore this well. And he's still wearing this. When he video called, he was from Abbotsford, he's wearing the Adidas version of this jersey, which I really wish Adidas would let me have one. But at any rate, that's neither here nor there. 82-83 in 73 games, 42 goals, 39 assists, 81 points. Yeah, so in Vancouver, he finally reaches that peak, right? It's almost a full decade after his rookie season, and now he's a 40-goal scorer. Now, in the playoffs, Vancouver couldn't replicate the magic. He plays 3 games, no points there. So the expectations were high, and again, 40-goal scorer, that's a rarity in Vancouver at that point in time, even though there's a lot of goal scoring going on. Hey, not in Vancouver. 83-84, 59 games played in Vancouver, 28 goals, 20 assists, 48 points. In the playoffs, he adds 1 assist in 3 games. But while he played in the All-Star game that year, and it's the only time he plays in the All-Star game in his career, he had a neck injury. And that neck injury caused him to undergo spinal fusion surgery in the summer of 1984. So he suffers that injury and then comes back and he plays a bit. But when he had the spinal fusion surgery, he basically was told if you get hit again, you may end up in a wheelchair. So he retired rather than risk further injury. This is a career that went on for 11 seasons, but it's sad because in Vancouver he was finally achieving those goals and point totals as envisioned when he was drafted in the first round by Chicago back in 1973, and he had to retire. So in 2000 he became the part owner, president, and GM of the Coquitlam Express, and that was in the BCHL. He would leave that team in 2014, so he's there for a long time. His NHL career spanned 794 games. He had 256 goals, 239 assists, 495 points. In the playoffs, he adds 14 goals, 7 assists for 21 points in 60 games. And again, Rota's just one of those guys that probably should have played longer. I would think he would have played another probably 3-4 seasons before retirement probably would have been a thing. And Vancouver lost a guy who could have been a 40-goal scorer when he was forced to retire. So it was a huge loss for a Vancouver team that, again, in a time of big scorers and a lot of points, they didn't have a ton of guys who were getting a lot of points. Tony Tanti would end up being a perennial 40-goal scorer for the Canucks after that, but they definitely missed Rota. And it's too bad they didn't have Rota and Tanti as 40-goal scorers. That would have been a lot of fun. But at any rate, he had a very good career, and again, he's still involved with the Canucks, and he's a great guy. I've never seen anything from Rota where he's been negative. Like, I could imagine a player being bitter at having to retire early. I haven't seen any of that with him. And a great guy. So really enjoyed the chat with him, too. So anyways, there you go. And Yvonne thought he might have knew he was talking to the hockey guy, but he never said anything to me about it. That was fine. Because, there was that little kid part of me that was like, I'm talking to Darcy Rota. So anyways, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Well, there's a lot of people watching this video and like, I don't even know who this guy is. Well, go look him up. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.